Hello, Eastern Region. Thank you so much for joining us for the next installment of Conference Conversations. We are so excited to have Dr. FELICIA Barber from Yale University joining us today. Dr. Barber will be conducting our high school SATB honor choir in Providence, and we are so excited. So Dr. Barber, thank you for joining us for Conference Conversations.
Thank you so much for having me, Amanda.
Yeah, absolutely. These conference conversations really are designed for our membership to get to know you a little bit better, to get to know our other conductors. And so for those of us who may not have met you yet or have not worked with you in the past, let us know a little bit about you, about your background and how you came to choral music and ultimately, to the Eastern region.
Oh, that's great. Well, I'm actually originally from upstate New York, south of Rochester. That's where I was born and raised, and that's where most of my family still resides. And I spent many a day in the NISMA auditions and participated in regional and all-state festival choirs throughout my K through 12 education. I loved music from an early age. My mother was a church musician, and I think my earliest memories of singing is really started in the church. And my mother led the choir as well. And I remember marching down the aisle as young as 2. And people think I'm joking, but I can remember at that age. And there's pictures of me in the loft with the adult choir, which is insanity. But I've loved singing I've loved singing since I was a young child, and I did it all the way through school. I also played in band and orchestra. I played clarinet. And so I was in, concert band. I was in marching band and orchestra as well throughout into my first 2 years of undergraduate. And then I really knew that singing was my favorite. And I think my first year, 9th grade, I did an area all-state where I was both in the band and in choir. And I said, I will never do that again because I was running from rehearsal to rehearsal. So I chose at that point choir because I loved choir. And so the rest of my high school career and into course college, I focused in at choir festivals. And so to be able to kind of come full circle and actually be conducting all states and now Eastern Division is really not only an honor, but I just love the community and the process of music making that you get in the choral atmosphere. And I've loved it since I was young. I mean, every time I go to a festival, I have memories at each festival. I can remember some of the literature we were singing. And so I think these things are so foundational for the musicians that we become. So I'm really, really honored to be a part of this year's conference. And I'm so thrilled with Eastern Division. Can I just do a shout out to Eastern Division and their leadership?
Please.
Because I actually sent a note to Chris Kyver as soon as it was announced that we have all female honor choir conductors. And I do not remember in the history of ACDA, nationally or regionally, that ever being the case in my life. And so I am so, again, thrilled to be a part not only of the conference, but that our division is leading the way. And you'd think it wasn't cutting edge, it's 2024. But to think that, for the first time we have all female conductors, I think is just fantastic. So really, really excited to be a part of it.
Oh, thank you. And honestly, that was Chris, our president. I remember very clearly he came to me and said, this is really important to me. And I was like, let's go. That's the best idea I've ever heard. Please, So we are very proud and we're very excited. And we're just so thrilled that all of these students get to experience you and get to experience these other fantastic, amazing, I can't say enough wonderful things about the 4 of you. And these kids will be forever transformed the way that you were in all of those festivals, the way I was and so many of us were. So so shout out, yay Eastern Region, let's go.
And I've been really, I feel like stuck into Eastern region for years. My not undergrad, but my graduate degree was with Peggy Detweiler. And so I remember going to my first regional Eastern Division regional with her. But Other than that, I mean, my career as in academia has been in the Northeast. I was
Okay.
at Westfield State University in Massachusetts prior
Hmm.
to coming to Yale for the last 2 years. And so I have just kind of seen a growth in Eastern Division, especially since probably, I think the 2014 was the first conference I was able to attend. And that was the first time I presented my research,
Okay.
which again, kind of full circle this, I'm 10 years out. And so my research is highlighted as a part of the program
Yeah.
this year. So I'm really, really thrilled about that as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So, in looking toward next week and in looking at the ensemble that'll be in front of you, of course, honor choir ensembles are so special because it's the one and only time that that choir exists. You know, it's such a compressed, special process that you get to share with those people, you know, and so we want a little sneak peek into your program and what can obviously the families of the honor choir participants, but also all of us as attendees, what can we be expecting? And is there anything in particular that you are really excited about
About
learning and
2 points.
sharing?
Oh
Okay,
yeah,
I'm
I'm
ready.
excited
I'm
about two
ready.
points. The first
Okay.
is, Chris, when he first approached me about participating in this, he actually asked that I create a program specifically highlighting African American music, and I
Okay.
was really, really honored by that, and felt a bit of responsibility for making
Yeah.
sure there was a cross section of representation on the program. And so the program has been really carefully crafted to both highlight idiomatic and non-idiomatic forms or genres that are
Mhm.
a part of African American history. We're going to open with Florence Price's "Praise the Lord," which is great, and I've actually arranged a string. I've been doing a lot. I arranged a string quartet to go along with it because in my mind I've always heard a string quartet with that piece, and so that will be the first time that that's being heard. Also highlighting new music by some of our contemporary composers, such as Christopher Harris. We're
Mhm.
going to be doing his beautiful piece, "Bring Me All of Your Dreams." We're also going to highlight a piece by Joelle Thompson called "Hold Fast to Dreams," which actually has two poems from Langston Hughes.
Mhm.
And I also snuck in two spirituals, which is my passion, and also my area of research. And we're going to do an Undine Moore piece, which I don't think is done that often. Most people who know Undine Moore have done Daniel, Servant of the Lord, but we're going to do a piece called "Sinner, You Can't Walk My Path." Which is interesting because you're going to hear the call and response, but instead of by a single voice or a single part, it actually is going to be passed around by every single voice part. At one point, is going to be a chance to get the to be the leader. And then we're
Great.
also doing Roland Carter's "In Bright Mansions," which the first time I ever did that piece, I'm going to throw out another honor choir moment. I was in a collegiate honor choir 2 years before Moses Hogan passed, and he did one
Mhm.
in Pennsylvania, all spirituals.
Okay.
And we did "In Bright Mansions Above," was on that program. That was the first time I experienced that piece, and I haven't done it for years, so I was glad to bring it back. And the final point of the program that I wanted to just mention
Sure.
was that we have a commission, which is so
Mhm.
exciting.
Mhm.
And I I really kind of was thrilled about the idea of a commission, and for it, I ended up working with Zenaida Robles, who is a composer and a conductor from Los Angeles. She's an African
Mhm.
American composer and conductor, and I really wanted a piece about a Black woman. And
Yeah.
I have never heard a piece specific in choral music or genre about a Black woman or a Black woman's experience. And
Mhm.
so for the last 2 years, we've been kind of going back and forth. But last spring, I approached Zenaida and she said, "Why don't you write down ideas of what you're thinking?" Because she actually had two poets she was going to work with and she was wanting to collaborate with, and she's worked with them before. And
Mhm.
so I literally got up in the middle of the night for water. And I had been thinking about it for a while, but it all came out in the form of a poem.
Mhm.
And I was like, in like 10 minutes, I was like, what is happening? So I did not do anything with it for probably 3 months. And then I ended up sharing it with her probably May or June of last year. And I said, you don't have to use it, but these are my ideas. I don't know what's happening.
I love
And she sat on it and then she was like, I love it. I think this is it. And so I'm now a lyricist. I don't
You're
know
a
what's
poet. You're a
poet.
lyricist.
So we're going to be finishing the program
I
with
love it.
that. And what's also exciting is Zaneta is actually coming out to be a part. She's going
Yes.
to be at our rehearsals on Friday. And then she's going to be there for the premiere on Saturday. So I am kind of over the moon about the entire program.
Yes.
I hope everyone else and the students are as excited as I am about learning the music.
Yes. Well, I am not only an attendee, but I'm also a parent and a teacher of two students in this ensemble. So I am
Awesome.
very excited. I'm so excited.
That's
Um,
fantastic.
so yay. I know we all are. So you guys, this conference is hot. It is hot. It's all happening. It's all happening. Oh, it's so exciting. So, one of the things that I've been asking, and Chris and I have both been asking, all these interviews is, looking back into your past a little bit, just thinking about ACDA. What is your first memory of ACDA? Kind of like your first point of contact, because for all these students, most of them, this will be their first memory of this organization and what this whole thing is. I mean, I remember going as a student in college. I didn't even know what ACDA was. I had no idea what that meant. I knew we were singing at this
Mhm.
at this ACDA conference, and I was like, "What is that?" And then I got there, and it was like, "Okay, this is what this is, and this is amazing."
Mhm.
So we're just curious, what is your first memory of ACDA?
I'm trying to think because I know New York State NISMA, their all
Hmm.
state is
Hmm.
associated with ACDA. So
Okay.
I know in my participation there, I probably was at a meeting but didn't realize it. I
Okay.
think my real first memory of getting involved in ACDA was
Sure.
at the master's level because my undergraduate I was actually a
Mhm.
performance major,
Oh,
and so
okay.
I went right into I knew I wanted to teach, so I went to get an education degree as my second. So I
Okay.
think my experience with Peggy Detweiler, who is very active in
Of
ACDA and
course.
Pennsylvania ACDA,
Yeah.
and the regional was in New York City.
Okay.
I think that was my real first experience of saying, "Oh my goodness, this is all about us." Like this is actually a conference all about choral music because I
Right.
had been previously to a NAFME. I think my undergrad
Okay.
emphasized NAFME more, and
Mm,
so I had been to some conferences where we had everything was done, and so I think
sure.
it wasn't until I saw that ACDA was really for choral professionals and
Mhm.
everything. The sessions, the programming of concerts, everything was a choral focus. That was, I
Mhm.
think, my first experience with that.
Okay. All right. So other than the choir and the music and Dr. Robles, uh, is there anything else in Providence that you're looking forward to?
I have to say, I'm gonna put a plug in for Yale and
Mm-hmm.
Yale students. Um,
Mm-hmm.
First, we have a doctoral student, Margaret Winchell, who is presenting, I believe, Thursday morning,
Mm-hmm.
her first presentation at a regional conference. So
Yes,
I,
very
I
exciting.
really would love to see it. I don't think I'm going to get to it, but I will do a shout out. And
Mhm.
also, we have two master students who were accepted to the conducting master class, in
Yes.
which my colleague, Dr. Jeff Dalma, is one of the leading clinicians for that. So
Yes. Yes.
there's a lot happening of Yale representation. So
Mhm.
I was excited to see that. But the students are really thrilled, especially Margaret. I remember my first presentation at Eastern Division. It
Yeah.
was right after I moved here in 2014 in
Okay.
Maryland.
Mhm.
And being able to present my research. So I'm really excited for Margaret. She's getting ready to be on the market. And she's finishing up with us this year, but it's a really exciting time for her. So hopefully everyone will be able to go out to her session as well as the master classes.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm not sure if everyone knows this, but Dr. Barber and I are both from Connecticut, and we actually have two performing ensembles from Connecticut this year, which is really exciting. So there's a lot of Connecticut action happening at
Shout out,
the
shout out.
regional the regional conference this year. So it's very exciting. But yes, yay, Yale, and yay for all of that activity. And we're just so grateful to you. Thank you for contributing so massively to this experience for hundreds of students, for all of their educators and their families. And we can't wait to see you in action. We can't wait to come in and watch you rehearse and see you and the kids present all of the amazing things that you have, journeyed together on Saturday.
Thank
And
you so much.
yeah, we're just so grateful to you. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
And everybody else, we will see you in
In Providence.
8 days. 8
Days.
days! Woo! So excited. Thank you, Dr. Barber.
Thank you.
And we will see you soon. Thanks.
See you soon.